We have 16 names, 15 are here. So 15 to 16 people. They're right here. I am going to mix these names up and I'm going to pull out 4 names. I will announce those names so that you, the audience, and the storytellers will hear those 4 names. They will be our first 4 storytellers. You might see me do this. In fact, you will see me do this for these stories. I think we're going to use pink for round 1 and yellow for round 2. This means that the storyteller, this is really for them more than anybody else. The storytellers had 80 seconds. It means they have about 20 seconds at most to finish. They also know if they go over time, they're going to be, what's the word we've chosen?
Booted. I think we picked booted tonight.
Respectfully.
Disenfranchised.
We'll do it kindly. Please stay muted,
Yes.
y'all.
Lightly.
Y'all, if you all keep unmuting yourself, I'm going to belly dance. Trust me, you don't want.
Oh, please don't. Please don't. No, please.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
good, but no.
So trust me, you don't want me to belly dance. And it's so close. This thing, it just comes up and nobody wants that.
He's daring y'all. Please don't help him.
So but by the way, I didn't have an opportunity to thank everyone for being here. I see a lot of people that we know. They've been in slams and other things. Kurt's here. Kurt won a slam last night. Cheddar's here. Yay. Cheddar's going all over the freaking world telling stories. Ray Ellen's coming in. She's a local North Carolinian who's recently got involved in this. A lot of people, a lot of talent. So what's going to happen is after the final teller of that section, Mary is then going to do a little summary. And then Sean behind the scenes is going to launch a poll. If you go over time, you're on the poll. You, the audience, and the storytellers will get a vote. Just one vote. And what I would encourage you to do is to vote for the person you think told the best story. And that means that it's a story. If they break into spoken word or a poem, or that's wonderful art, not a story as we're defining it.
Right.
So but we won't disqualify anyone for that. The time is the disqualifier. You, the audience, I encourage you to please put people through who you think told the best story. And we won't want people looking at notes. So if you do that, do it well. And if you, and no one's going to call you out, but the audience might see. And I'm going to say, encourage people to vote for the story that you think, I don't know, people are playing by the rules. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally fair.
Put the person through who's going, but doing a story in the right amount of time from memory. I'm sure everyone's practiced a lot. They know
absolutely.
They know the game. I will tell everybody who's here, all 44 people, which by the way, it is February 2022. I thank you for being here because you could be out playing pickleball or having sex on some pool randomly, or drinking on a lake, or skiing, but you're here.
Was that your weekend, Sean?
No, that was just my imagination. Things got mixed up there in my brain there for a moment. This isn't a PG-13 crowd. No. We're all adults. The stories might reflect that. Just know that. I never do trigger warnings because, one, I don't know the stories that are coming. Just know we're grown-ups. And if anything upsets you, pause it, stop it, or walk away. Fair?
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody's trying to screw with anybody, but it's possible someone might say something that upsets you. Can't really control for that.
You know what it is? It's because these stories are so powerful and vulnerable and things that we all have experienced. So something might come up that you've experienced. So yep. So true. It's a great statement, Sean, to say to folks.
Yeah,
so
I don't think I've said
and we
that.
don't know.
No, because occasionally I've been storytelling shows or swaps or workshops, and there's a little pushback or confusion. I just want to say, can't guarantee this stuff. And hopefully you're in a place where you can hear just about anything, but I know everybody's got their buttons that sometimes get pushed.
Sure.
And so, the other tech remote component here, this is being Facebook lived. Anybody who's on live can't vote. They can see it, but that also means they can see you. So if for whatever reason you don't want your lovely, beautiful faces to be seen, then at the top right of your photograph or your picture, it should say stop video.
Stop video.
Yep. And the other kind of tech thing is you'll see chat. You're all going to stay muted, but you can use the chat to message someone directly. Nice things, of course, or to everybody. And then afterwards, we usually hang out. And we'll have a formal goodbye, but then we'll say, hey, if you want to hang out, talk, have a beer, or whatever you want to do, hang out with us. And so that's an option. Mary, what did I miss?
Oh my God, Sean, nothing. It's 7:10 and I think you got everything.
I babbled though, didn't I? I babble and babble and babble and babble. All right, before we do this right now, the final section of round one will have 3 people, unless I hear from Barbara, just saying. All right.
Well, let's see.
All right.
We have our beginning storyteller, our warm-up girl, right?
We do. I'm going to say that, hang on. Marie, I'm going to message you, Marie, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I got you. Marie's a possibility. We're waiting. We're going to give Barbara a few minutes, and then Marie is our backup. And we do have a storyteller that will be leading us off, who will not be voted upon. Yes, I'm going to stop babbling very soon. But first, I want to call the names so that they can prepare whilst Ann Vandy Perky, residing in northern Chicago, starts us off. Yes. All right. Number 1, Neshama Franklin. Number 2, Jameer. I believe Jameer's in New York. We'll find out afterwards.
Yeah.
Number 3, Sharon. Number 4, Emerson. In that order, we're going to have in a moment, in actually about a couple of minutes, Neshama, Jameer, Sharon, and Emerson. Before that, let me welcome Ann Vandy Perky. I'm going to spotlight her. This is just to get things moving. She is not to be voted on. Ms. Perky, whenever you're ready.
It was spring break, 1967 in Mallorca, a tiny island off the coast of Spain. My family, me, Lisa, Jake, and my parents were visiting the Weinsteins, a family of 6 who hated the US. The Weinsteins' house was on a hill. It was a beautiful villa with terraces surrounded by olive trees. We chased lizards in the hot sun on the terraces. The Weinstein kids were wild. They fed the lizards to the cats. Charlie Weinstein said, "Our parents let us do whatever we want." We all drank Spanish Coca-Cola that had so much sugar in it, it was like Christmas. They drank wine. One night there was a party. Some other Americans came who also hated the United States. Everyone smoked and drank wine and laughed. Dinner came at 11. I saw my mom light up a cigarette and give a look. My dad lit up a cigarette and gave a look. That night, all the kids got to sleep in sleeping bags in the basement as a treat. They were upstairs. Jazz blared. I woke up to a violent crash and my mom screaming something. The door to the basement was open and the light was blaring in. Something was crashing down the stairs, then stopped. No jazz upstairs, no party noise. None of us got up. I don't know if I went back to sleep. The next morning, we climbed over the broken stereo and records to go upstairs. No one said anything. I got a Spanish Coke for breakfast. I didn't feel anything. We came home. For years, I saw those looks. My dad gave me regular Cokes, and I still didn't feel anything. Boom.
Boom to the boom, boom. Thank you, Van. Starting us off. As always, it's Mary, it's become almost a tradition, you might say.
I agree. It's how we start things off here.
I don't know how it happened, but it is now a thing where Ann Perky leads us off. Our first storyteller of season 6, slam number 1. She is no stranger to the world of story, as all of our storytellers. They are not strangers. Her name is Neshama Franklin. I'm going to spotlight her. Before you start, Neshama, one final thing to everybody who's voting. You have your own system, whatever it is, but you might want to jot something down as you hear the storytellers. But again, then you'll hear Mary summarize and you'll see a poll. But if you need a system, whatever you want to do, whatever good or best for you is.
Yes.
So it is. All right, Ms. Franklin, break a leg.
So my Tai Chi teacher, who is my age and has a kind of Buddhist leanings, when she tacked on a 4-day silent retreat to our annual workshop on British Columbia, terror struck my heart, because I live for words. I speak them, I read them, I write them. What was it going to be like? I'll tell you what it was like. There I was, lying on a thin mattress under a tin roof. It was a rainstorm. I could hear every single drop hitting that tin roof, wild percussion. And on the window right next to me, I could see the traces of individual raindrops, their trajectory. And even the waft's sting was a sensory material. Should I scratch it? Use cold, use hot, not touch it? I didn't know, but I paid attention. And oh, you should have seen us when we tried to make communal meals without words. It was like a farce by Marcel Marceau, but we could eat them. And then it was time. The 4 days went like lightning. And when I had to haul my voice out of a deep well, and it came out rusty. And you should know from that time, which was quite a while ago, to this, I have not shut up. The words still resound in me, but I have never forgotten the intensity, the nowness of what happens when one goes into a silent retreat. Boom.
And there it is. Thank you, Miss Franklin. Neshama rhymes with pajama. Her words, not mine. Mary.
There you go. That's a good. I am sure over the years, Neshama's had to tell people how to pronounce her name. So that's a pretty
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So first we had Ann Vandy Perky lead us off. Now officially our first one. Officially, Neshama Franklin out in California. Second storyteller. We roll through these things pretty quickly because we've got a lot of tellers. Next up, we are going to find and spotlight Jameer. Jameer, there you are, sir. Yeah. Jameer, I'm going to spotlight you. Take your time. Have some fun.
Okay. All right. Show of hands. Anybody ever been kicked off a stage by a rapper before? Or just me? Okay. Well, that's fine. Because in 2015, I was kicked off the stage by the rapper Travis Scott in front of thousands of people in attendance and millions of people on social media in New Jersey. Just want to say, I was literally just doing my job. I was a cameraman at the time working for the festival, and I was supposed to be a videographer. So what was I doing? Videographing, okay? And I happened to be filming the rapper Travis Scott. And he's taking off his shirt and he's full of tattoos and he's running back and forth across the stage, jumping in, doing mosh piles in a mosh pit and just really being erratic. And so I'm capturing all this. I'm like, I have great footage. I'm doing a damn good job, I might add. So good that Travis Scott's guitar player passed me a blunt, a marijuana cigarette, for some of you who don't know what blunt is. And I said, no, you know, my mom may be watching live stream. I stay drug-free. I'm good. But with 5 minutes left in his set, Travis Scott goes to his DJ and signals to cut the music. And then he looks in my direction and goes, get your fucking nerdy ass off the stage, bro. And what went through my mind when he said that was whoever's behind me is really going to have a problem because he's not talking to me like that. I'm family. I just got past the blunt, okay? But as we met face to face, I knew he was talking to me. And a security guard came and broke us up and guided me off the stage. And as people cheered and threw things in my direction, it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. But it was also one of the most moments that signified a pivotal change. Boom.
All right, thank you, Jameer. Nice to have you here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Indeed.
Oh, did we find out where you're from?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I live in Jersey City, New Jersey right now, but I'm from Brooklyn.
All right. All right. Thanks, Jameer.
Thank
All
you.
right, cool. So we have Neshama, we have Jameer, and next up we have in the great state, not of South Carolina. Mary, this state is north of South Carolina.
North of South Carolina.
It
so
is
North Carolina.
Correct. Yes. We're going to find.
Look at you being all clever, Sean.
Sharon, you are unmuted. Yep. You are spotlighted. And whenever you're ready, break a leg.
The day I get to Kazakhstan, a war breaks out, which is complete coincidence. So people are setting cars on fire and buildings on fire. Thousands of people are being arrested and killed. And I am at the Ritz-Carlton swimming. The government shut down the internet so the protesters can't communicate with each other. And, I can't do any work. The planes aren't flying because obviously they can't fly without the internet. So I'm sitting in my room all day and I'm drawing mandalas and sleeping and basically being really well rested, which is so weird for me. And I'm swimming, which I never have time to do at home. I'm up to 10 laps and I take a rest by the side of the pool. So that morning I went to breakfast, luxurious Ritz-Carlton breakfast. And there was one person there, me, and 12 people serving me. And then when they weren't serving me, they were in little groups, huddling and whispering. And one girl had tears in her eyes. And I wondered if someone that she loved had been arrested or killed. And I'm swimming. And I'm up to 20 laps and I get out and I go into the jacuzzi. And as I'm sitting in the jacuzzi, safe, I think, on my worst day, I'm stuck in a country. I may never leave. You know that feeling when things are bad, that they'll always be bad? I might be here for the rest of the semester, not doing any work, just getting rest. And I think, I really have nothing to complain about. Nothing at all.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon in North Carolina. All right. So we had Neshama and Jameer and Sharon. And we have one final storyteller for section 1 of round 1. His name is Emerson. I think he is on the West Coast somewhere.
Los Angeles.
Indeed, that counts for West Coast, I believe. Take your time, Emerson.
It's a miserable late winter evening in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm in a miserable bar called Tuman's Alcohol Abuse Center, where I've come to meet Annie, who is the woman I've been dating for about the last 3 weeks. She seems distracted and irritated and not as brilliant and sexy and fun as she was 3 weeks ago. And I know that this is the time that I need to lay it down and let her know how I feel. So I say, Annie, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. I've really enjoyed these 3 weeks that we've spent together. I've enjoyed doing the New York Times crossword in the Garfield Park Conservatory. I've enjoyed smoking and drinking with you in various bars around the city. I was not smoking before we met, and now I'm smoking a pack a day. So obviously it's added something to my life. I've enjoyed having sex with you at your place and in a sleeping bag on the floor of my place, my first real apartment in the big city alone. And this has been the best time of my life. And I just want to let you know, I want to be your boyfriend. And she said, thanks for letting me know. I'm flattered, but I'm enjoying being single right now, and you should get tested for chlamydia. Boom.
Thank you, Emerson. All right. That was Emerson out in LA. All right. I got some news I want to share with you, Mary. First round, section 1. I'm not happy about that. Here's what we're going to do. Got to make an executive decision sometimes in the moment.
Sometimes. I fully support you in that, Sean.
Yep. Here's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, Sharon was over. Too far over.
Sharon.
Yes. Sorry, Sharon. I know you prepared. Jameer, I was in a tricky spot here, and I like to be fair, but I'm just going to be as transparent as I can be. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but this is a call out to everybody. Usually I start the clock when you start talking and open your mouth. And in Jameer's case, he kind of asked a question. I got no problem with playing with the form. That's cool. But so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, just to be fair. Listen to me like I have so much effort, like Mr. Controlling.
It's your show. It's our show. We can do this.
Your fucking future. No.
Right. For this show, we are.
Hey, you know what? So Neshama, Jameer, and Emerson, we're going to do summaries for, and then launch that poll. Everyone else, please, you've been warned. Make my job easy. I assume when you open your mouth, that's when you're beginning. All right.
That's when we're going.
Yeah.
So
all right, when you're ready, yeah.
Okay. So Neshama learned how to be silent at a silent retreat. And now she is using her words all the time as a storyteller. And it's interesting how to make meals when you can't talk to each other. Jameer, well, in 2015, he was kicked off the stage by Travis Scott. It made a pivotal change in his life. And Emerson, oh, the tale of woe of romance, wanted to have Annie as his girlfriend, and she told him to get tested for chlamydia.
Wow. All right, I've done my best to take those stories the way you summarize them, a few blurbs. I think it should be enough. But again, look, they just heard the stories, right?
Yes.
And now they've got the blurbs, your blurb, and now I got more blurbs. So I'm going to launch this poll. Everybody gets to vote, including the storytellers, of course. Other than me, Mary, and Richard, we don't get to vote. Again, it's going to be Neshama, Jameer, and Emerson, and we could have 43 people vote. I hope you all vote.
Please.
Vote.
Voting is important.
Oh, all right. I should tell you all. Okay.
Okay, there was a tie. Now there's not a tie, but there could be a tie again because some people haven't voted.
Right. Nope. I think we do have a winner.
I do too.
Yep.
All right.
So you've noted that. I've noted
of course.
We have a winner. That was an unexpected, kind of came out of nowhere. Looking at the poll. All right. So we're going to end that poll.
All right. End it.
I ended it.
We got another round to do, my friend. End it. Leave it behind us.
Here we go. I'm going to pull 4 more names. And we are going to mix them up. And then eventually you'll learn if you are going to the second round or not. But we're not going to tell you just yet. By the way, I should have let everyone know in the first round, if there is a tie in any section for first place, we do a runoff.
We do.
We'll launch another poll. It's just what we do. Here we go. Number 1 in section number 2 is going to be Michael. Then we're going to have Shari. Then we're going to have Andrew. And then we're going to have Erica. Again, that's Michael, Shari, Andrew, and Erica. First up, Mr. Michael in somewhere out Pacific Northwest. We find him. Where is he?
I think he's about an hour outside of Seattle, if I remember right.
Michael, you have to unmute yourself. I'm going to spotlight you. Section 2 has begun, Michael, whenever you're ready.
It's the mid-90s, and I'm in the last step of becoming a big brother of King County. The Big Brother organization is amazing. They are very thorough. And the last step they do is they come for a home interview. So preparing for this sort of confessional experiences goes right up with my Catholic upbringing. So I was ready for all sorts of admissions in a sort of honest, but close way. So when the social worker came to my house and asked me, are there any drugs in the house? I was honest with no, because I had put them in the car that day. And when she asked me, is there any pornography in the house? I had said no, because I actually lived in a condominium. So the final question was tricky. Her final question was, do you have any toys in the house? And I thought she was asking me to entertain a smart child, when it's a rainy season in the Pacific Northwest. So I we were in our living room. I opened my armoire, and I had like Risk and Chess and Trivial Pursuit, but I had forgotten to clean out one thing, something from a secret fetish. And in there I had had the night before a party with some very close friends. And it was the 90s, and it was, I don't know, we loved Aaron Spelling. And we had a party for all of the famous Aaron Spelling night shows. And they were Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, and Models Inc. And I had left they had brought me a trick gift of all the dolls from 90210. And the social worker told me, I'm sorry, but a man of 30 having dolls in his house it's kind of a red flag for being a big brother. But they let me in anyway, and I was a big brother for 6 years. Boom.
Thank you, Michael. All right, thanks, Michael. Michael out in I don't know, Seattle-ish area.
Yes.
All right. Next up is Shari. Shari, let's find Shari. She is in also in North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Yeah. Shari, where are you? Hang on, let me spotlight you. We are in no rush here.
I'm right here.
There you are. All right, you take your time, young lady.
No, I'm not ready to start the story just yet. So I have a request, Sean, which is not to put up that 80 because one, it'll distract me, and two, if it's not close enough, then I'll just start talking really fast, and that's not worth it.
I will not put up anything.
Thank you. And then the second thing is for everybody, which is that there are two booms in this story, and it will be very apparent which one is in the story.
Okay.
So my friend Vincent and I have a big idea, like many 5-year-olds do. It's July 4th, and we're gonna pile up a bunch of firecrackers, light a match, drop a big pot on it, and then watch that pot go sky high. I was in charge of the pot. Vincent was in charge of the match. 1, 2, 3, boom. I never did get to drop that pot. I can close my eyes and I can see Vincent with that vacant stare, like he had no idea what was going on around him. And I can see soot where all of his eyebrows had been burned off. And I could smell burning flesh and watch as Vincent pulled his skin down his arm. I grew up a little bit that day. Boom.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you, Shari.
Thank you, Sean.
Interesting. All right. So we had Michael and Shari, West Coast and left coast. No, left coast is the West Coast, right?
Left coast is the West Coast.
So left coast, East Coast. It doesn't work.
West Coast, East Coast.
Right coast.
Well, it is the right coast in my eyes, but I'm from Massachusetts, so.
Next up, we have North. Good segue. We're going up to the
Speaking of Massachusetts,
state, Mary. We're going up to your state, and we're going to replace Shari with Andrew, and then when he's ready, he'll start a story.
As a little kid, I would go to church every Sunday, and I liked the magic that I saw during the Sunday Mass. And I'm not even talking about the hocus pocus with the bread and the wine. It's the candles, it's the incense, it's the ornate robes. It was the pageantry. It's what I would focus on while the priest blathered on. And then I got a little bit older and I understood the message that the priest was giving. And I'm struck by how dirty I am. I had to get baptized and cleansed of original sin. And then I had to go to confession every Saturday to get cleansed. And then every time I would go into the church, I would have to get cleansed by the holy water. It's a lot of work. In high school, I got a job as a driver for a flower shop. And one Saturday morning, I walk into work and I find a bundle of palms sitting on the dirty concrete floor. It's my first delivery of the day. I'm to deliver them to the church so that the next day they can distribute them for Palm Sunday. It never occurred to me that the palms on Palm Sunday would be delivered by a kid like me. Jesus, God, the bishop, sure, But me, it just didn't make sense. That's crazy. I mean, this had to be some kind of mistake. I got this job because the guy before me, he was found asleep with the delivery car running and a bag of pot on the dashboard. And he was the last guy to deliver palms to the church for Palm Sunday. My boss sees my hesitation. Don't worry, they don't become official until they're blessed by a priest. I don't need the church to be perfect. But is it too much to ask that they're better than me? If the church isn't better than me, what do I need it for? The magic doesn't seem so magic anymore. Boom.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm gonna remove that spotlight.
Mhm.
You know what, Mary? What I'm gonna do
Yes.
right now, just so everyone,
What?
we got to spotlight you once in a while.
Oh, thank you.
You're never. It's
Wait.
always about the tellers, and that's cool. But this is Queen Mary. She's a queen. She's in Massachusetts, and she's spotlighted. She doesn't really tell stories with us anymore. You do tell stories, though.
I do tell stories, yes, but I'm too busy hosting. It's a very big job.
Huge.
It's huge. You know.
Let us go bounce backing. We're gonna go back out to the
West
left
Coast. Left coast.
Wrong coast. Erica, she's unmuted. We're gonna spotlight her. She's gonna take her time, and she's gonna break at least one leg.
In the midst of a bipolar manic episode, I quit my high-end hotel concierge job and I began wandering the streets day and night, barefoot in my kimono, telepathically communicating with the sun and moon. Mania begins beautifully, like inside a Van Gogh painting, but psychosis, not eating, not sleeping, takes its toll. It's like being ripped from earth, trapped in the pages of Dante's Inferno. My friend of 15 years has left me a number of messages which I have not returned. She goes out looking for me in my neighborhood, in my Los Angeles neighborhood, and she finds me filthy, layered in the soot of the city and smelling like onion and trash, lying down in the middle of traffic. She convinces me to go with her to her apartment, where she makes me chamomile tea with honey. She runs a bath, running the water till it's perfectly warm. She lathers a sponge and gently washes my body, carefully cuts and cleans under my fingernails, and tenderly shampoos and combs my matted hair. She treats me like I am her treasured child, because that's what you do for people you love. Thanks.
Thank you, Erica. Erica's in California, Mary. She's from California. But she's living there.
She's in
now
California
for
right
some
now.
time. That's correct. A lot of people make their way west. Some make their way south.
Right.
You, however,
no,
decided to stay right just right there in Massachusetts.
The crazy stay in the city in Massachusetts, but I travel a lot.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, if
But
you're
I
ever
always
down in
know.
North Carolina.
Well, we're gonna have to figure out when you go live in your events again.
Right.
I'll be a surprise co-host. I'll bring my crown.
Right. Okay. Second section, more bad news. You know what? You know how I feel about this, right?
I know.
Unfortunately, the first teller of section 2, Michael, went over. So we are going to only need 3 summaries of Shari, Andrew, and Erica. Sorry, Michael. And also another sorry to Sharon, but we got to keep things fair.
I know. Because I really wanted to summarize about those stories. I always want to summarize all of them.
I know.
So, yes, I know. That's all right. I'm gonna, settle down. All right. So, so Shari learned something new that day that her and Vincent decided it was a good idea to light up some firecrackers with a pot. Poor Vincent was hurt. Andrew, magic doesn't seem the same as far as the church when he had to deliver palms there and realized that they weren't really magical until they were blessed by the priests. Erica had a wonderful, wonderful friend take care of her when she was going through a rough mental health time. And that's what you do for people that you love.
All right. So that was round 1, section 2. So we're going to launch this poll. And I put it on. It's actually untitled, but it doesn't matter. You'll see 3 names: Shari, Andrew, and Erica. And I hope you all vote. Here we go.
Do your voting thing.
Do your voting thing.
Yes, please. Okay. Boop, boop, boop.
Keep it open for it's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Make sure you vote, guys. That's so
We have a couple more people. Actually, this one we can close out.
Yeah, we can.
We have someone cannot be caught. So we're going to end that poll.
Mhm.
We're going to end section 2. Just to remind everybody, this is season 6. There's several slams in each season. This is slam number 1.
Yep.
If you're watching this and you want to do it, I'll give you ways to get in contact with me or learn more about how you can tell a story at our next one. We don't have a date set just yet, but they're usually these days like 5-6 weeks, every 5 or 6 weeks, trying to figure it out, the new normal.
Right. Right. It's true.
Right.
Oh, but Sunday nights usually at 7:00, folks. So keep.
And we have other events on Sunday nights if you didn't know that. So we've got other cool stuff. I'm going to pull 4 more names. Here we go.
My goodness.
First one is Nadia. Get ready, Nadia. The second one is Carolyn. The third one is Madeleine. I did not plan that. And the last one is Marie. Again, that is Nadia, Carolyn, Madeleine, Marie. That is a poem right there.
It is.
It sounds very poetic.
Look how creative you are.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. I can't. You can't script this. Nadia, Nadia, Carolyn, Madeleine, Marie. Okay. Let's find Nadia. So I'll just stop talking. People did not come here to hear me babble. Nadia, there you go.
I don't think that's true. They're here for the stories and for you.
Okay. Nadia, whenever you're ready.
The motorcycles are all lined up, different sizes, different colors, some with visible dents, others all shiny. I quickly spot mine and I get on it with the confidence of an experienced driver, while my mind quickly plays a clip of the previous year's failure when I lost control of a Harley. It won't happen this time, right, Mimosa? We got this. I pat the motorcycle like it's a horse, and I gear myself up for the last exercise of the test, where you pick up speed and slow down enough to take a smooth right turn while staying within the lines and bring the motorcycle to a complete stop with the front tire in a white square. I whisper again, we got this. Start in first gear, go to second gear, and I pick up speed, lots of speed, too much speed. And here comes the moment when I need to turn, but I don't have enough time to slow down. So all I can do is lean the motorcycle over more and more. Sparks come flying out from the foot peg, touching the ground. My knee scrapes the ground, and I feel like I'm milliseconds away from crashing. But I managed to take that turn and adjust the bike upright, bringing it to a complete stop in that damn square, like I'm a professional rider, as I hear the instructor yell with excitement. I hope someone caught that Evel Knievel move on camera. Boom.
Thank you, Nadia. Nadia's in Chicagoland area, Queen Mary, as some people might know. But you know, the location thing always.
I think it's wonderful because it shows where everybody's coming from. We've been international. I'm not sure we are tonight too, right?
Exactly. And we're going to introduce Carolyn, who's in New York. We'll find out later where exactly, if she wants to share that. No, she does not need to. Let me spotlight her. Carolyn, unmute yourself and take your time.
I have been single a really long time. And it doesn't mean that I haven't tried to meet somebody. I tried all of the dating apps. I invested heavily, and not only money, but bandwidth, time, attention, heart. And I concluded that there are a lot of really uncool people in the dating universe. Like, do not send me a picture of your unzipped pants. It's just too many uncool people in the dating universe. So I'm done. I quit. except for about a month ago, Facebook pinged me and said, oh, we have this free dating app, just click. Okay, easy enough. I click and I'm getting texts, more texts than I ever got on any of those paid apps. So now I have choice and I'm looking for more local people and see this guy, nice, headshot, and we start texting back and forth. And it turns out that he's a member of the kayak club that I had just joined that summer. So I said to him, I texted, how come I haven't seen you at the club? And he responded back, he said, oh, if you saw me there, you would remember me. I'm the one with no legs. And I never texted back to this day. I still haven't texted back, proving my point that there are a lot of uncool people in the dating universe, and I think I'm one of them.
Thank you, Carolyn, in New York. Appreciate your story. Say that to everybody, really. Appreciate everybody's story, Mary. Queen Mary, you're muted.
Absolutely. I am now unmuted.
You are not one to stay muted for long. I know that.
No.
Nobody puts Mary in
mute.
Nobody puts baby. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, that movie.
Baby in the corner?
That's right. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Oh, Patrick Swayze, we miss you so.
I miss you so much.
All
right.
Where's Madeleine from?
Madeleine's up in Montreal area, Quebec province for sure.
Oh, fun.
Quebec City.
Oh, Quebec City, home of the Nordiques, the once famous hockey team. Not now, Madeleine. We're not talking about that right now. Madeleine is here. She's in the Quebec province. I know that. And she's spotlighted and she's unmuted. Break a leg, young lady.
I know some crazy women, but crazy in a fun way. When I die, my mom says, mix my ashes with your dad's and throw us in the river. Then have a party and tell some stories. It's a really easy plan. And then she made me power of attorney on some off chance that she would ever give up her independence. Well, she had to. And now I signed for my mom. And my sister Barb has a new plan. Barb found out that our maternal grandmother prepaid for 8 cemetery plots in southern Ontario. Our grandparents are there, but no one used the extra space. Everyone's dead except my mom, who's 91. My mom likes this new plan of going back to her roots when she dies. With cremation, Barb says, we can stuff 24 of us in there. Just think, we could be buried with our kids. Our personal stories etched in stone. Won't that be fun? Barb's coming to Quebec with the documents. I have an appointment with a notary to witness my signature saying my mom is the last living link to some space in a cemetery somewhere in Ontario. Spending eternity with my tribe of crazy women. That's starting to sound like a fun plan. Boom.
All right. Thank you, Madeleine. Don't ask Madeleine now. It's not the right time to ask her exactly what Nordique means. We will perhaps ask afterwards.
At the salon afterwards.
At the salon afterwards.
At the salon.
The Nordiques, Quebec Nordiques. Quebec's a cool sounding city, like just Quebec.
Quebec, yeah.
Right, it just sounds bad. We're respectfully Boston.
Well, it's all right. Boston. You have to say it right, Sean. I mean,
whatever. LA. Okay, fine. Vegas, cool. Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah,
Quebec.
I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to that place.
Absolutely.
And then it's so cold, I'm gonna leave after about 20 minutes.
That also.
Lastly, Marie is with us today. Marie, we'll find out more about Marie afterwards, but she's unmuted and I'll spotlight her. Marie, whenever you're ready, break a leg.
Sex and sexuality. I came out in the 1980s as a lesbian woman and all was going well. And if I have to admit it, I had some short-term relationships, some long-term relationships, and a couple of one-night stands. And then, June 29th, 2005, my life changed forever. I sustained a traumatic brain injury in a work-related accident. Learn how to speak, learn how to walk right, learn how to talk right, cognitive confusion, physical exhaustion, everything changed. I hated who I was, and then I learned to accept and love my life again. Everything except one thing: sex. It's really, really hard to accept that you can no longer have a sexually satisfying life after sustaining such an injury. And my heart goes out to others, with others who have such disabilities. Boom.
All right. Thank you very much, Marie. Some people, Queen Mary, have said after their stories, boom.
Boom.
At least one storyteller actually did it twice.
Mhm.
That's a new twist.
That's new.
Just for the audience, that's just something we sometimes do. The tellers don't have to do it. I don't know how that started, but it stuck.
It stuck. It did. A lot of people still do it.
That's what they call in the world of marketing, right? Making things sticky.
Stick, right? Look at what you've done.
I've got very good news for section 3. And you know what that is, right?
Oh, I think I do.
That means Nadia and Carolyn and Madeleine and Marie were all at or under the magic number 99. So they will all be summarized, and we will launch a poll after that. Whenever you are ready, I will. Yes, let's do it.
All right. So Nadia was referred to as Evel Knievel during her motorcycle test to show that she could handle her motorcycle after a downfall the year before. Carolyn found that there's a lot of uncool people in the dating universe. And after an interaction with someone that she might not have recognized, she might be one of them. Madeleine, and she's not, though. We all know that. Madeleine loves the idea of spending eternity with her tribe after talking to folks about plots that were open that her grandmother bought that no one seemed to land in. And Marie talked to us about a traumatic brain injury that she had from work and how life pretty much has come back to where it was, except for sex.
So as the audience will know, I am just pulling a few words here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So this might not be the best way of blurbing or summarizing, but we're just trying to give you a little more information. But again, you just heard these stories. You heard Queen Mary's summary. I do not claim to be a professional blurber.
No.
Been called worse, though.
Right.
We have got 4 storytellers this time: Nadia, Carolyn, Madeleine, and Marie. Let's have everybody vote, please. That's my DJ voice.
Please.
Please.
Oh, please. And then drop the beat.
Boom.
There you go. Boom. See, that's where you got it.
Boom.
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 Oh, and we're running away.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Richard can see this as well. Richard's going to be putting a storyteller through. You are as well.
I know.
Oh, you never know. Sometimes I'm surprised. And I don't mean that in a sort of weird way, but naturally you hear stories and you're sort of like, oh, I think that one might be the winner. You do that.
Right.
And sometimes you're not right. In my case, I'm usually wrong, which is how I live my life. Almost always wrong all the time.
Right.
Let us end this poll. You want a follow-up question there?
No, I was just going to say, it just gives us a chance for improvement, Sean. If we find out when we're wrong, we can be right.
There is an obscene amount of opportunity for growth. Let's leave it at that.
Exactly.
All righty. Our final 4. And then, so you all know you will vote one more. We'll take a few minutes break.
Mm-hmm.
Just a few minutes. We'll chat a little bit. Then we will announce the 4. There'll be 6 in total. 4 section winners that the audience put through. Mary's going to put someone through.
Mm-hmm.
Richard's going to put somebody through. That'll have 6. And then those 6 tellers will go into the second round. We will not, those 6 tellers I'll do one at a time. The names will be pulled one at a time. So they got to be ready at all times. Ooh, it's like so nerve-wracking.
It is. It's so wonderful.
You like it?
I love it. I love it.
All right. I appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate the audience. Appreciate the tellers, your patience, especially for these final 4 storytellers. We have got in this order, Christopher, Tracey, Briane, God, and Kelly. Christopher, Tracey, Briane, and Kelly. I found Christopher. I'm going to spotlight him. You will unmute and take your time, Christopher. Break a leg. You got to unmute. Yep. Nope. Unmute. Yeah, take time. We're good.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're great.
Okay, cool. Let me just get rid of this one thing here. So I am with this girl. It's the first time she's been to my apartment. It's the first time she's been in my bedroom. We're very romantic. I hug her with all my weight. I grab her like a bear hug, and I throw ourselves back on the bed, and the mattress frame snaps. And I think this is hysterical, but she does not. And I try to pawn it off. It's just a cheap frame, but she leaves. But I've at least convinced her over the course of the week that it's just a cheap frame, and she'll come back next time she's in town, which is another week. So in that time, I got to buy a bed frame. So I call Target. I get customer service in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now I'm speaking to this young woman, and she tells me this is the bed frame she has. Now I'm too polite of a gentleman to ask, does she also use this for sex? But hey, I've lived in the Midwest for 5 years. I know the kind of heavy people. So I take her word and I order it. It arrives. It requires assembly. Midwestern people know how to assemble things. I don't. Hire a guy from TaskRabbit. He comes. He has no tools. He's able to get 99% of it, but the mattress kind of just dips right at the center. So he says he'll come back the next day. But when he calls me that morning, he says he's going to charge me another $50. I'm not paying $100 for a $100 bed frame to be assembled. So I said, no, thank you. She comes over, she rolls into bed. The feeling is very nice. And then we roll right into the center and the bed sinks. And we spend the rest of the day at the museum. But the good news is Target has a remarkably good return policy. No questions asked. Thank you.
Boom, boom. There it is. Thank you, Christopher. I think they're West Coast. We'll find out afterwards. West Coast, left coast, right coast, wrong coast. All righty. Let us. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
It's okay.
I should just move to like Wichita and then stop talking about all the coasts.
Oh, I don't know if you'd be happy, Sean. I would not recommend that. Maybe you would be, but I don't.
I feel like I might do well in like the mountain desert.
That'd be lovely.
What I'm talking about? Next year I might be there. I don't know.
Okay.
Again, nobody came here to. No one gives a shit. They did not come here for that.
I don't think that's true.
I think yes, fine. It's the Sean Show. Welcome to the Sean Show. Tracey Starin. Tracey Starin is here. Lovely human being. We're going to spotlight her. Take your time. Break a freaking leg.
I wasn't surprised by the friend requests. All the relatives that I hadn't talked to in over 10 years because of an emotionally abusive childhood found me almost the minute I joined Facebook. And so I ignored them all, but 2 relatives, cousins, a mother and daughter, Shari and Melissa, were particularly persistent. They sent me messages that said things like, "We've missed you and we've looked for you for so long and we just want you to be a member of the family again." And so I wasn't sure if I trusted their motives, but I relented with one stipulation. I said, anything that I say to you, I would rather you not report to other members of the family. And they said, we're barely in touch with anybody else in the family because we don't like them either. And so I relented. And I started exchanging messages with them. They wanted to get together in person, but I said, I'm just not ready for that yet. And I still really didn't trust their motives. So we started to exchange messages, dozens of messages, volumes of information. And they persisted. They wanted to get together in person. And I just didn't trust them. And I wasn't ready to do it. But after 6 years, I finally agreed. I thought they're in this for the long haul. And we got together for a lovely brunch. We talked and laughed and hung on each other for hours. And they told me how they couldn't wait to invite me to holidays and family barbecues. And I left with the warm feeling of being part of a family again. And then I never heard from either of them ever again. Boom.
Okay, Tracey, thank you very much. So that was Christopher out west, Tracey in Maspeth, Queens. No, I'm not giving you her address, people.
No, no, no.
Maspeth is enough. It's a neighborhood in Queens. That's all you need to know. It is, by the way, near my old accountant.
Oh,
you're probably surprised, Mary, that I had an accountant, right?
I kind of, yeah. We're learning a lot tonight, Sean.
It was a short stint, but boy, they did some magical things with numbers. They really did.
The magic pencil.
It's incredible. That was the last accountant I ever had. All right, Brian in Canada, not in Quebec. Let me find Brian. He's a handsome guy. Where is he? Did he leave?
Brian,
here in Toronto.
There he is.
I'm still here in Toronto.
Toronto, you're still in Toronto, dude?
Yep.
Jeez, must be a cool city. All right, break a leg.
I'm 35 years old. I'm in Toronto. It's the middle of winter. I've got to get out of here, so I get on a charter to Acapulco, Mexico. It's Wednesday afternoon. Most of the people from the resort are on the beach because 6 of us are on our knees with our hands behind our back because we've entered the pie eating competition. Now, I'm no athlete, but I know how to eat. And being the only Canadian in the competition, I'm thinking, this is my Olympics. And I know I can beat most of these guys, except the guy next to me is really huge. He's from the US. I call him Gorgo. They bring out a table with the 6 pies. The only rule is we cannot use our hands. They count us down, 3, 2, 1. The whistle goes. We put our faces in the pie. I'm eating away. I look at Gorgo. He's ahead of me. I don't know what to do. Then I figure it out. I smash my face into the pie. There's meringue everywhere, especially in my mouth. And then I start to eat all of the crust. I finish on time. I win. The judge comes over to me. He says, "You are the winner." He gives me my gold medal. Well, it's a bottle of tequila. And all the people from my charter are screaming and applauding. I've got tears in my eyes because of the meringue. I decide, well, that's about it. I'm not going to get into another competition because I decide I want to retire undefeated. And I've got my gold medal in Olympic eating. Boom.
Boom. All right, Brian is up in Toronto. He likes pie. You know what, Mary? What's cool about these things is you get to learn about people.
Amen. Yes, we sure do.
Like if you just danced, we would have learned something. And there's no disrespect to dance. I'm gonna probably be really careful how I frame this. But with story, the nature of story, you're talking about your life. We get to learn cool shit.
Right.
It's cool. We learn cool shit about Brian and Christopher and Tracey and all the other storytellers. And our final storyteller, that's my segue.
That was good.
Kelly out on the West Coast. Kelly, let me spotlight you. Take your time.
So 11th grade biology class, it's the day of dissection. Coach Cooper brings in a human body for us to dissect. Now, Coach Cooper had no formal training in biology. He wasn't even actually a coach. He was a substitute PE teacher. And I was the only student in the class to start interrogating Coach Cooper. Where did you get this cadaver? Does his family know he's here and that we're about to cut into him? And Coach Cooper just yells, "Shut it, Spillman, shut up." So he hands out scalpels only to the boys in the class. And they start poking at the cadaver Fred like he's some little cat. And I realized looking at this, wait a minute, if I can get in on this, this might get me into med school if I've already been able to dissect a human. So I asked Coach Cooper, give me a scalpel. And he goes, no, only boys can do it. The girls watch. And I was just livid. And I go, Coach Cooper, put me in. I have the highest grade in the class. It's 1991. Girls can do everything boys can do. And he says, you got one shot. I was so excited. I grabbed the scalpel, cutting my thumb and putting back women 30 years in Jacksonville, Florida. Boom.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. So once again, Mary, we just heard 16 stories and they run from the more serious to the less serious, super funny to super silly to what you, and it's also cool, right?
Right. It's amazing.
Most were at or under time. There was a couple that went over, right?
It's all right though. I mean, I think we got to hear their stories. So
and we at least got to hear their stories.
that
And
was
by the
cool.
way, for them and for anybody else who doesn't go to the second round, you got another story ready to go for next time.
Exactly.
So it's all good.
Yes.
Good news. You know what the good news is?
I'm summarizing everybody's story.
4 tellers, 4 blurbs. No one went over.
That's
Hang on one sec. Let me find my poll. This
I
is like the
know.
most excited I get all week, which tells you a lot about my life. Here we go.
Christopher found out that Target has a very generous return policy after he was trying to get his lovely lady into the bed that broke. Tracey got a friend request from relatives that she was nervous about letting back in her life. Then she did, and then they disappeared. Briane, the phrase "there is meringue everywhere" isn't usually heard, but in this story it was, because he won a gold medal in Olympic eating for eating the lemon meringue pie in Mexico the quickest. And Kelly was ready to take on dissecting a human body when her coach, the teacher, wasn't going to let her, and then she cut her thumb.
All right. Again, I'm just putting in some words from that. Hopefully I did a good enough job. I'm going to add a couple more here. It's our final section.
Yeah.
And I think I did a good enough job.
I think you did
I mean,
great.
it's good enough. They just heard. All right, everyone, here we go. I'm glad to see that everybody who showed up still here, which is a good sign. Means they're enjoying the storytelling. They're probably really enjoying you, and they're at least
Right. We're having a good time, Sean. We run a good, we host a good party.
well, at least, you know, hang on. Section 4, Christopher, Tracey, Briane, and Kelly.
Got him.
I spelled your names correctly. No disrespect. And let's launch.
Let's go. We're polling.
Polling.
We're polling.
This is interesting again.
Yes, yes.
So Richard and Mary, you can see these winners, and you and I will message each other in the next few minutes, so we will get the additional results.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we can close this. All right, so we didn't have any like ties. Remember, there was a slam, maybe the last slam, where there were ties. There were 2 ties. We had
2
these
ties.
runners. In this case, we have 4 winners from each section. We will talk in a little bit via messenger and figure out who else is going through. And I want to, this is a good opportunity, by the way, to leave your computer and go use the loo, as they call it in England, across the pond, or refresh your beverage, or yell at your kid who's supposed to be in bed, maybe at 8 o'clock. Is that a thing? Maybe if they're really young.
I think, yeah, if they're young.
Your kid should be in bed.
My niece is 17. She goes to bed at 3.
Right.
Because she's 17.
Right. It's different.
Right. So, yeah. Hey, kids, kids, it depends on what age. Yes.
Okay. So do we have Mary, Queen Mary?
Yes.
I know you're crunching some numbers. Some people are probably getting some beverages, or they're doing something else. They should be back here in a couple of minutes. Just curious if you're involved with anything, whether it's story related or not these days, that you want to share with us.
Oh, sure. I'm going to be at the Women's Storytelling Festival in Virginia in March. So if you can't be there, you can buy a ticket to stream, and I'm on Saturday night. So just in case folks are wondering when I'm going to be there, Saturday night will be my story, but you'll be able to watch the replay too.
Women's Storytelling Festival.
Yes.
Exciting. We will have an opportunity after we're done to let the storytellers this evening pop on and share with us what else they're doing, promote their stuff, so to speak. Next week, we have something called Deja True. We don't love the name, but we love the format. We've got, how many do we have? 8 pairs.
Wow.
8 stories, but they're really 16. They're 2 people each. They sort of braid in and out. It's going to be a really cool event. That's next Sunday night. I'll put a link in there before we close out the evening. If you want to check that out. It's a funky, different type of event.
Oh my God, Sean, it's wonderful. It's
You've been there. You went.
I hosted one because you were telling a story. So I actually hosted. I don't know if it was a while back, but it's amazing because there's these two people who have worked on their own individual stories and weave them together. So you can hear two stories that relate to each other. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you want to be part of it, talk to Sean, because it is mind blowing to see it happen. It's just really, talk about talent together, and you can get paired with someone for your story and you still get to express yourself. But,
you always do a way better job than I do of talking about my stuff. And we're not married, folks.
No,
we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing weird happening here.
All kinds of weird happening here, but the point is that
frisky.
Yeah, no, yeah, nothing frisky. But I get, talking about yourself. It's so good, Sean. And I know sometimes sometimes when someone else is looking at it, they can talk about it a little differently. So
that's true. That's
happy
fair.
to.
What I want you to do right now is, and we're going to announce the names in just a moment, and I hope everybody can stay on.
Please.
I really do. I'm waiting on one name from you, Mary. When you can, and you'll message that to me.
Doing it right now.
And when people come back in a minute or so, we'll announce the names. Everyone will stay, I hope. And then one by one, they'll do their second stories. And at the end, we'll have one winner. Should there be a tie for first, we will have a runoff. If there's a tie after that, then there's a co-winner.
Mm-hmm.
And they win some money.
Moolah, moolah.
Who doesn't like money?
I like money. So you have my name.
I do.
You do. Do we need to, what are we doing now, Sean? Do we need to talk about other things that you're running?
No, I have to,
have
nope.
the names.
I have the names, and there will be a seventh teller going through. So we're going to run through this quickly. Okay.
Okay.
Because there was a tie, and we're being as fair as we can, as inclusive as we can.
Always.
And this is not the order in which they're necessarily telling. I'm going to give you the 7 names, and then we're going to kick right into it. Okay. So if you're hearing me, if you're in your kitchen right now, we're going to be starting very soon. So come back to your computer. We want you here. And of course, we want you to be able to vote. And it's only fair to vote if you see and hear all the stories. In no particular order, the 7 storytellers in second round are Kelly, Carolyn, Jameer, Erica, Andrew, Briane, and Tracey. All right. Now I'm going to mix them up. And the first storyteller of round number 2. Now it's tricky, admittedly, Mary, because when there's 3 or 4 storytellers, there's no real disadvantage to going first. Right. I do think if you have 6 or 7, it's trickier, admittedly, but there's no way around that. So just tell a kick-ass story and you will still win if it's good enough.
Exactly.
Fair?
Exactly.
You know that I try to keep things fair, and I don't like it when things feel a little bit unfair.
Yes. Yes. No, you try to make it a very pleasant for everyone. And there goes Briane.
My boy, is he still in? Are you still in Toronto?
Not anymore. I've left.
Okay, you went to the cooler sounding Quebec. Folks, this is round 2. Final. Briane, 99 seconds still applies. Tell your story whenever you're ready.
Just putting my timer up. I'm laid out on Nelson Savine's basement floor, looking up as he's going 3, 4, and I'm thinking to myself, sometimes friendship hurts, physically and emotionally. When I was in high school, I had a new best friend. His name was Marty, but his old best friend, David, didn't like me. So I did whatever I could to be a friend with David, and that's how I got on Nelson's floor. David organized a day of fisticuffs, and he asked me if I wanted to fight, and I said, sure. And then he told me I was in the main event with him. A word of caution: if someone invites you to get into a boxing ring, find out if they know how to box, because if they do and you don't, you're in trouble. Marty couldn't be in my corner. He was in a preliminary match, so I got my friend Steve to be in my corner. Now, my uncle told me how to bob and weave, and that was about it. In round 1, I got through pretty well with a couple hits. I was thinking I'm doing in great shape. So round 2, I used my strategy. Instead of throwing my right, I threw my left, but David threw his first. That's why I'm on the ground and hearing people yell, lay down, and Marty's yelling, get up, get up. I get up at 8. And for the rest of the round, I just run away from David. In between rounds, Stephen tries to help me by saying, "You've only got 8 rounds to go." Round 3 starts, but I don't go into the ring. I throw my gloves in and I retire. My boxing career is over at 0-1, a technical knockout in the 3rd round. The next week, David and Marty are best friends again, but I found a new best friend in Steve, and that lasted for 10 years. So in reality, it was a happy ending, except for the bruises. Boom.
Here we go. Season 6, round 2 of Slam 1. That was Briane up in Toronto
Quebec.
land. I just put the word land after all cities these days, like they do in Chicago. Why not?
Why not?
I mean,
sometimes it works. Sometimes it just.
Yeah. The Quebec land doesn't work.
Quebec
you don't
land.
need to add anything because it's such a cool sounding name.
Right?
Toronto
land. Yeah. If we only ruled the world, Sean, it'd be such a different place.
Oh, God bless us all. Here we go. Each time I'm just going to keep mixing it up.
Mix it up.
I want you to see it. There's no games here. There's just me mixing a random bald guy in his bedroom in North Carolina. That's all you're seeing here. Don't, Mary.
I know. Okay.
Andrew is up next. Andrew Shelffo up in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's right.
There he is.
We yell car when we're playing in the street and a car comes, and then we move out of the way until a car passes. If we know the person who's driving the car, sometimes we'll boo. But our parents have drilled into us that we need to stay away from the dangerous cars. We don't want to get run over, which is why we never play down at that end of the street, because that's the dangerous end. Who is this kid? What happened? I came out of my house to go play on West End Road like we do every day. And we saw police cars and an ambulance at the end of the street. And we walked over to see what was going on. And I'm 9 years old and I'm looking at a dead body. And there's a lot I don't understand. The body belongs, or is it belonged, to a kid about my age, but I've never seen him before. And now he is, or is it was, he's in the neighborhood. And he's got long hair that kind of makes him look like a girl. And he's kind of kneeling on the street with his butt in the air, the way that babies sometimes sleep, but the pool of blood tells me he's not sleeping. His butt crack is showing, which one of my friends laughs at. The police are here, but they're not doing much. They're just talking softly to each other and not paying much attention to us or the boy on the pavement. He's on the dangerous end of the street. Is this what getting hit by a car looks like? Doesn't he know that cars are dangerous? A few months later, I asked my mother what happened to the boy's family. They moved away. Not they moved to Michigan or Seattle. They moved away. And that kind of makes sense. But there's still a lot I don't understand. Boom.
Andrew Shelffo, Western or Middle Massachusetts. Thank you.
Western.
West. I was going to say Western.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have this thing like Western is Western, you know.
Western is Western.
It's like there's a
middle is
line.
middle.
It's like there's a line, even though we're the same state.
Right. You got to be there to really appreciate that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're all nutty here. So
people in Quebec and LA don't really.
Oh, they don't care. No, I don't blame, and I don't blame you.
Do you care about provincial issues out in like Northern California?
I can't say I do. I care about the beaches, really. That's about it. And tattoos. And anyway, enough about my life. Enough about my life.
We digress. Next up, Kelly in LA. Here she is. She's going to unmute herself. I'm going to spotlight her. Kelly, whenever you're ready.
I'm one of those people that needs to work a job where I'm making a difference in the world. And so that's why I accepted the position at Georgia's Department of Corrections. Now, prisoners in Georgia are very unique because when we release them, they miss it so much, they come right back. 70% are back within 3 years. Georgia has the highest recidivism rate in the country. So the governor hired me to fix that. I was very clear in the interview that I have absolutely no background in criminal justice or corrections, but they seem to like my enthusiasm. I have a psych degree from Florida State. I've watched every episode of Dexter. I got this, Gov. So I just had to meet with each warden, the prison, and tell them how to fix their prisons. They did get to know me. They gave me a special nickname. They called me Hug a Thug Bitch. But I was not deterred. I instituted job training programs, substance abuse classes, group therapy. And under my tenure as Georgia's prison fixer, recidivism increased to 73%. So if any of you have been to Georgia and have been robbed, that is my bad. Boom.
Okay. All right. So Kelly is okay. We don't comment on the stories. We never want to influence anybody's votes. I am curious to hear about what happened because I think they live out West Coast now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, right.
But that's what happens, right? People move around unless you're Briane in Toronto, then you never move.
Or Mary in Boston.
Or Mary in Boston, you just stay there forever.
Right.
But that means you like where you are.
Exactly.
You don't always have to run away. It's not always better there. No. Don't we all, sometimes we all kind of get to the point in our lives where we realize it's going to be the same wherever I go.
It's true. Though I have to say I would realize that much better in a warmer climate than like in 22 degrees. I'm just saying.
Dude, you could move though, man.
That's true. I know.
I'll meet you out in like Santa Fe, dog.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's do it. Then we can host in the same room.
Next up, just mixed them up. Staying West Coast, Erica. She is our third of 7 storytellers. Erica, whenever you're ready, break the leg. Gotta unmute.
Yeah, hold on.
Sure.
Okay. I had just learned that a friend had died suddenly, and I am feeling very sad. But I'm at the elementary school where I work as a tutor, and I have a new student that day, and I have to keep it together. I'm standing just outside my classroom door when I see this little peanut of a girl skipping down the hallway. A happy sight, a child skipping. They're so carefree and unburdened, and I am immediately struck by my student Anna's intense thirst for knowledge. It's as though it is her last day to learn. When we take a break, Anna shares with me, you know, I have a disease and I almost died, but my mom gave me half her liver and I survived. Teacher, do you believe in heaven? Which I don't, but that is not the answer she needs. And I don't like to lie to my students. And she's waiting. And what comes to me is this experience I had in an art installation. And I tell her about it, how there were these endless tiny white lights surrounding me. I was ensconced in them and these mirrors, and my own image became smaller and smaller and smaller until I was one of those tiny lights. And as I explained to Anna, I'm remembering the exquisite peace that had come over me in that room. And I tell her, yes, I suppose I do. And Anna says, thank goodness. And I say, yes, thank goodness.
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks.
All right, Mary. So no surprises here. A lot of strong stories tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of strong story. You know, it's always tricky for the tellers. Which story do you do first?
Right.
You got to get into the second round, hopefully, if you want to, or presumably you want to. But then once you're in, right? So that, what do you do?
Right. So you have to have 2 strong stories because you just don't know.
Got to have 2 strong stories, and you know, and with these slams, there's a lot of talented storytellers, great stories. So you never know. I mean, you know, the cookie has to crumble sometimes in your favor, in addition to having great stories.
Exactly. We are very lucky, I think, that we get such amazing stories and storytellers. Yeah, we are very lucky.
We have been blessed for a long time to have a pool of phenomenal storytellers. I don't know if they're good people.
I think they're good people.
But they're good storytellers. I don't know if they're any, like, are they miserable human beings? Maybe, but they're very good storytellers.
Hey, listen, they can get the story out. That's all that matters.
I'm not here to judge anybody's character. I'm not the moral anything.
Oh, God.
I don't care what you do. All right, next up, Jameer. Let's get Jameer up here. We're going to unmute him. We're going to spotlight him. All right, Jameer, take your time. Break a leg.
So it's August of 2015, and I am getting ready to leave my job at the radio station. And my coworker pulls me aside before I leave with a very concerned and angry face on. And he says, I think Travis Scott put you in a song. And I said, what do you mean? And so we downloaded this song called Antidote, which Travis Scott dropped. And in the lyrics, it said, kicking the cameraman off of my stages because I don't like the way he's taking my angles. And I was furious. One, because he put me in the song, but two, because the song was really good. And because I worked at a radio station, from that point on, I heard that song at least 12 times a day. It became a big sensation. Every concert I went to, I had to hear 30,000 people sing that song, to go into my favorite cookie spot, Insomnia Cookies, where it would be 4 people going behind a counter talking about how popular Antidote was. But the thing that really pissed me off, grinded my gears the most, was the fact that he just called me a cameraman. At that point in time, I had been working at the radio station, and I was trying to be an on-camera personality, a radio personality, do things that would set me up outside of just being a cameraman, and that hurt me deeply. And I had a moment in between those feelings where I said, I can move forward or I can sink. And I chose to move forward. In 2019, I told the story at BuzzFeed about my Travis Scott experience, and it got over 1.6 million views on YouTube. And it encouraged me to become a storyteller. Boom.
Thank you, Jameer. Jameer is playing the game of the boom. Gotta appreciate that.
I appreciate the booms.
Just, acclimating, I think is the word. They acclimate. Sure. People do. People adapt. It's what we do as a species.
It's true. It's true.
And then you get to a certain age, though, when you stop adapting.
You're like, I don't care about adapting anymore.
Are you there yet?
I think December I will be, because it's the big 5-0.
Oh shit! Let's not even. Everyone on here is going to be like, oh, yeah, they're going to do this. Well, they're actually not doing it. I think they're tired. Oh my God, congratulations. You made it to 50.
I'm not saying, wait till December. We'll have a big slam party. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we will. All right, next up, second to last storyteller this evening. Her name is Carolyn. We are going to find her and spotlight her. And then we have one more storyteller. And of course, she knows who she is.
Yes, she does.
So as you know, I'm on Facebook dating. And so that's how I met Michael. And I actually had a phone conversation. This is like, a first in my dating experience. And he's telling me how he loves New York City culture. And me too. I love New York City culture. So we decide to meet up at MoMA. And this was just Friday. So I meet him at MoMA. And we go in, and as soon as we walk through the doors, he's motioning to me like, I gotta take a call. And he does this the whole time I'm doing MoMA by myself. But we did leave together and grabbed a glass of wine. And I was curious, it's Friday. Was he taking work calls? Like, no, he's got to be in touch with his friends, like Shane. Shane was getting evicted because Shane was a squatter in his girlfriend's apartment. So his girlfriend couldn't get rid of Shane, had to move out and bring Shane to court to get him out of her apartment. And Michael's conclusion about this is that Shane's girlfriend is crazy. And my conclusion is, if Michael thinks that Shane is normal, I'm not inviting him over for coffee anytime soon.
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn's in New York. She is married. We have had 16 storytellers, and I believe if my math is correct, our final story this evening will be our 23rd story.
Wow.
All right. I know Richard Munchkin's about to jump on me if I get that number wrong. 16 plus 7 is 23.
23. We got the math right, I think, Richard. He'll tell us.
He'll
call us out, which I appreciate about him, because he knows things about numbers, Richard Munchkin.
He moves around a lot. He's moved around a little bit in his life. He's not staying put. Moves around.
That helps the stories.
Before we, the final storyteller, there's no surprise here. She knows who she is. I just want to thank everyone again for being here. All of our storytellers. After our final storyteller, if everybody's at or under time, same deal. Summary, poll, announce a winner, and then I will bid you adieu. And then if you want to hang out, I'd love to get to know some of you even better.
Yeah.
It's up to you though. Understand if you got to go. All right. Finally, of course, last but not least, Tracey Starin, near my accountant in Queens.
I came home from college for the weekend to a house full of company. My stepsister Nancy was there with her family. I said hello, and then I went to sit with my mother and Nancy in the living room where they were talking. A few minutes later, my little fluffy 12-pound Shih Tzu came in and started barking and pawing at my mother and Nancy. And my mother tried to pick her up, but Taffy would have none of it, and she couldn't figure out what was wrong. Taffy kept barking and jumping and running back and forth between the living room and the kitchen, which was very unlike Taffy, who was a very sweet, friendly, calm little dog. So my mother eventually decided, well, if I just ignore her, maybe she'll stop. But she did it. And then she started pawing and barking at me and running back and forth between the kitchen and the living room and looking at me. And I said to my mother incredulously, I think she wants us to follow her, which is weird because she was not Lassie. She was a Muppet. So we followed her into the kitchen where she led us to the back door that I had thoughtlessly left open, where my 11-month-old niece Lorelei was crawling backwards down the stairs. And everybody screamed, and my sister picked up Lorelei, and Lorelei started to cry. And there was a few minutes of hubbub before we figured out that everything was fine, nobody got hurt, and that Taffy may have just saved the day. And when we looked down to congratulate her, she was on her blanket, fast asleep, after her amazing feat. Boom.
All right. Rounding it out. We are done with our stories, Mary.
Wow.
It up to everybody who has joined us here. This has been astounding, the quality that we continue to hear and see at these events. So I appreciate it.
It's pretty wild to hear them. It's inspiring to me to hear all these amazing stories. As a storyteller.
Really? Is that a word that you, because a lot of people use that word these days rather loosely. Everything's inspiring. Does this really inspire you? I'm not calling you out. I'm wondering.
No, it's fine. No, it is to hear the structures and the stories and how vulnerable people are. It's like, wow. Yeah. You know, they're letting it all out on the Zoom. It's amazing.
Okay. So I love the hyperbole. All right. We have got great news. Nobody went overtime. I need 7 names. I need 7 summaries, and we will have one final poll. Mary, when you're ready, do what you do.
Let's take some advice from Briane that if someone invites you to get into a boxing ring, you should find out if they know how to box. Even though he's 0-1, he still found a great friend after his boxing match. Andrew learned that car and the dangerous side of the street could teach you a lot of lessons as a 9-year-old when no one answers any questions that you have. Kelly upped the recidivism rate in Georgia, but the hug a thug bitch knew enough that she had to fix and help the Georgia prison system. Erica, she found out she believed in heaven and when she was tutoring a child with a disease, or at least she told her that she believed in heaven after she had a moment with it and blinking and sparkly lights. Jameer ended up in Travis Scott's song, but he was not just a cameraman. My goodness, how could Travis Scott insult him so bad? Carolyn knew enough that Shane was going to be the break between him and Michael because of how Michael was handling himself with Shane and his girlfriend. Not the best date ever. And Tracey, her dog Taffy was not Lassie. She was a Muppet, but she made sure her 11-month-old niece didn't go all the way down the stairs.
All right. I am as always putting random words together based on your thing. So
that's right, Taffy. Not Lassie, Muppet.
Okay.
Taffy, not Lassie. Yeah, there you go.
Oh God, that's probably going to be the difference maker right here.
It is.
All right. Oh wow. Okay, here we go. Last one. We got Briane, Andrew, Kelly, Erica, Jameer, Carolyn, and Tracey. Hopefully you can all vote and we'll have a winner. Here we go. And thanks again for being here, both tellers and audience.
So it goes to show that we're listening to all the stories, Sean, because we can talk about them, or I can at least talk about them. You just have to run the show.
Is that what my job is? We've got 4 more. It can make a difference. I want to hear. Let's go, everybody.
Come on, vote.
All right, we've got, let's give it a few more seconds. We'll milk this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got a winner.
We do.
Richard, give me a thumbs up if you saw the winner. Yes. So in a moment, we'll have our guest judge this evening, the esteemed Richard Munchkin, based in Las Vegas. Any final thoughts, Mary, before Richard announces our winner?
Thank you all for being here. The stories were tremendous. So good.
So good. Thank you,
So
everyone.
good.
Great job. Thanks for putting up with me. I always appreciate that. And stay tuned for future announcements, and I hope you can hang out a little bit. Richard, without further ado, you are unmuted. Would you please tell us the winner of season 6, slam number 1?
What a fantastic night. Lots of really, really excellent stories. Our winner tonight is Erica.
Woo! All right, here we go. Erica out in LA. We're gonna do the awkward thing when someone wins, and we're gonna be like, "Hey, say something." Hey, you just won. Say something, and you're like, "Nah, dude, I'm good. Let me get a drink."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you know me. If I'm given the, did you really want me to say something? No.
If
yes.
you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm happy, and thank you for voting. And I was like, the stories were so fun, and I hope you do keep doing events even if the world gets normal, because I like coming to them.
Cool. Congrats to everyone. Great job as always. Any number of people, and this is taking nothing away from your amazing stories, but hey, you know, there's always all these good stories. I'm always like, all right, we got one person wins tonight. It's Erica. Well deserved, but everyone did beautifully. Thank you very much for being here.